First of all, thank you very much. It's my honor or pleasure to be here with some really beautiful souls. For me, life is a real case of entrepreneurship. Each one of us born out of at least 40 million to 300 million sperms. When a sperm goes in competition to fertile an egg, it's at least 40 million to 300 million sperms. So congratulations to all of us. We are alive. And this is a gift. Before I travel to Poland and before I give any speech anywhere, I always ask myself, how can I add value? What should I give? Despite of the religion, despite of the differences that we have in age, in background. For me, my mission is to live a life of significance. Do you know what it means to live a life of significance? Someone wants to participate or to say anything about it? How do you understand this phrase? Because my style of talking is not only me talking. I would like also some participations from the audience, if this is possible. So what do you understand from living a life of significance? To make an impact? Very nice. To have influence. What type of influence are we talking about? The positive influence. Very true. Because we can have also negative type of influence as well. Right? To help others grow. Because by helping others grow, we grow as a leader. Bring new ideas. Very true. Building something that lasting. Bearing good fruits. Very nice. That's why I'm saying all the time, whenever I go, the audience are always smarter than me. They have much better ideas when it comes to these. I believe these are very philosophical definitions of what really, because I want to go from there, from life itself, to then entrepreneurship, and also my speech as Muslim entrepreneur, how we define entrepreneurship, how we define So I was asking myself, how can I add value? I was referring all the personal stories that I have, all the failures that I witnessed in Iraq during my, entrepreneurial journey of developing two enterprises, one a fitness club in Kurdistan, in Suleimania, the other one is a healthy restaurant as well. So for us as Muslim, I believe, one of the core foundation that we learned from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his teachings and his personal life is business is about something, which is adding value. Wherever we go, we make sure we add value. Wherever you go, we make sure we spread love, peace, and I'm sure maybe some of you, or I don't know, once we hear about Iraq, Islam, we think about what? Terrorism, attacks, bombs, wars, with these type of stuff. But once this is actually the picture that media showed us. Once you go there in Kurdistan, once you know Muslim, someone who's Muslim, an entrepreneur at the same time, you learn a lot about their wisdom, how they make business. For example, in my family business, which has been around 25 years in Iraq, my father or my four uncles, they have been doing business for 25, almost 30 years. We became one of the giant holding company in Iraq with more than 1,500 employees. It was based on the foundation of Islam and the way that we did business all together. In Islam, it's very important because in Islam, business is not about what you do. It's about who you are. Leadership is not about what you have. It's about who you are as a person. So once we talk about who we are as a person, I talk about values, I talk about mindset. I talk about what else? Beliefs, personality. I should put it in character, because for any influential leader or business owner or entrepreneur, there are two critical subjects when it comes to any success, either in business, in personal life. And these are the cores that in Islam is been highlighting by Prophet Muhammad big time, which is character and competence. In today's world, we are hearing a lot about improving communication skills, presentation skills, knowing different languages, all these emotional intelligence skills. But we are less hearing about how to become a person of value, how to respect. Because by most studies in leadership, the first reason of anyone who wants to be the most influential person in the room is by the character, by the type of values that we have about each other. If I know everything about communication, languages, presentation skills, but I am not a person of character, value, or respect, no one cares. As John Maxwell states, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I'm repeating again, this phrase has impacted me big time in my life. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So business leadership, entrepreneurship is about caring. It's about serving. As Prophet Muhammad said, the leader in the journey of leadership, the leader is the servant of its followers. But in today's world, most of us as entrepreneurs, we want the money. We want to, work for the money. I want to get rich. But in Islam, the way that we understood in Kurdistan, no, business is actually about what you have to give to other person. It's a deeper conversation. It's not about, because I believe money is the result, right? For any entrepreneurial project, the outcome, the goal is what? Okay, the result would, if you do things right, you'll make money, you'll be successful, you'll have a free independence, economical, freedom. But it doesn't matter. The result for us as Muslim, it matters, yes, but it's not the end goal. We have a bigger purpose. Let me bring you an example. We have cars, right? What's the purpose of a car? To move you from X to Y, right? Okay, in order to move me from X to Y, what should I have in this car? Fuel, engine, wheels, right? Okay, I'm comparing it to the business, the business case. Okay, we have a business. We compare it as a car. What's the purpose of the business? What's the purpose of the entrepreneurial project that I always give this example just to help youths in Iraq and also outside of Iraq to understand the concept of an entrepreneurship is not to make money. For us, this is how we understood. So we have the car, we want to move from X to Y. We have the company, we want to move from X to Y. In order to this company move from X to Y, we have to give fuel, right? We have to have the right driver, the wheels, everything. In business, in Islam, this is how we think about money. Money is a fuel. It's not the end goal. It's the fuel of the business. If you want your business keep moving, keep running, you have to have the resources. One of the major resources is money. You make money in order to move the business to the next step, but this is not the end goal. For us, because I'm talking about my family, the values that we have been raised by from my childhood, all the time my dad told me, we are providing job opportunities. We are helping poor families. Because in Islam, we have something, I don't know if you may hear the word zakah. Zakah is the end year payment that you have to give for the poor people, for the social welfare, to support the community. So for us, this is very important because by the end of the day, we don't think ourselves only. We are responsible also for some other people as well. So when it comes to Bahar Holding, our holding company in Iraq, we have a rectangle called what matters most. When it comes to any investment that we are doing, the first priority is always people. We care about people. We make sure anything we are doing is for the benefit of the community, either for their wellness, well-being, or anything related to the human side. Second is quality. Anything we do, we make sure that this is the highest quality in the market comparing to our competitive market. Third, we think profitability. And profitability, why? It's in our rectangle of what matters most. Because we think about it, if we don't, it's like the fuel. If you don't keep money into the business, you cannot grow, you cannot continue. I know maybe these type of talks, you don't hear it a lot, maybe especially when it comes to the Muslims society. I believe in Kurdistan now we are heading to a new era of entrepreneurship, leadership, with these type of concepts. Because before, as you may know, the Kurds in Kurdistan are not that much free. Unfortunately, we witnessed very severe case of Ba'ath regime, Saddam Hussein, or the internal war in Iraq. But I believe the role of any successful entrepreneur is how to deal with challenges. We have to be always prepared to face challenges, to keep challenges as opportunities, because I believe all the opportunities lies during the challenges. And for any entrepreneur, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to teach yourself, educate yourself, that you don't see challenge as challenge. You see challenge as opportunities. This is a type of mindset that we are improving. I am being responsible for about 6-7 years in Iraq, giving talks, international events to the Kurds, to the people outside of Kurdistan. For me, we are all alike, despite of our differences in the religion and everything. For me, as long as we are human being, we are on earth, we live around, don't know, maybe our lifespan would be maximum 100, 120, let's say. Before that period of time, we were dead for millions or billions of years, right? And maybe after this short lifespan, we again will be dead for millions and millions of years. So the question is not, during that period of time, how much money you make. For me, it's about how much value can you add? How much souls can you impact? For me, this is the concept of entrepreneurship. Even though maybe we have different schools in entrepreneurship and leadership, but for me, this is the type of understanding of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is something, a responsibility. If you are not aware who you are as a person, I don't think your competence will help you to get there for the end result of your entrepreneurial project. And even if you start, most probably you're going to fail. So starting, knowing your purpose in life, your mission, your vision. You may saw it in the video that my motto is something, 3 words: live with significance. Wherever you go, make sure you leave something positive. Whatever you do, make sure this will be serving someone, despite of the differences that you have. And this is how I grew up myself in Iraq, with a very challenging situations. Oh, by the way, in Iraq, we have, yes, entrepreneurs, but not that much well-established comparing to other countries. But I was challenging myself. My personal story started with very, very challenging stuff that I did. And no one was supported me, actually, in the beginning. Because I was a very shy child. In my childhood, I was very shy. I never wanted to talk. I was always sitting behind of everyone. But later in life, once I went to the American University of Iraq, who started to study business, I was helping myself, to find who am I, what do I want to pursue in this life. And based on that, I put all my entrepreneurial and all my projects based on this mission. Because I believe without a mission, you will lead nowhere. You will go nowhere. So it's very important for all of us as entrepreneurs, we make sure we ask ourselves, what do I really want to deliver through my entrepreneurial projects? What's the purpose? If the purpose of your business is to make money, I believe it's like, it's the purpose of the car is to burn fuel. This is how I perceive it. The purpose of your car is not to burn fuel. It's to burn fuel to get you from X to Y. So I believe this is how I see entrepreneurship. And I'm really thankful for this opportunity to get to know really beautiful people from Poland. By the way, this is my first time to be in Poland through Jacek, my relationship. I always told him once he came to Suleimania several years ago that, Jacek, I want to build something in the future together. Maybe we have some exchange program between Poland and Kurdistan. And we are more than happy to serve anyone from Poland. If you want, guys, wanted to visit Kurdistan, we are more than happy. I believe we share so many similarities between the Kurds and the Poland. Politically, even culture-wise, me and my wife, witnessing some really similar stuff that's happening here in the society, very alike to our society in Kurdistan as well. So for me, I leave you with this sentence. You live once, make it significant. Thank you.
Questions?
Any questions? I'm ready.
Thank you for your speech and thank you for coming to Poland. What would you say was the impact of the war in Iraq overall on the Iraq? How has Iraq recovered since then, both economically and on the social and psychological level? And how has the war impacted your family business?
Thank you. So regarding the war's impact, for sure, any country witnessing a war, it has some downsides when it comes to the social, cultural, political situation, especially the economical situation or stability in that country. I believe it's all about mindset. We are finding two types of people. If we are dividing Kurdistan and Iraq, we find people, they always see the darkness of what's happening. Always. Because in life, you get what you seek for. Very simply putting, And at the same level, the same country, we find people making millions out of this darkness. Making millions. I mean, millions not only in terms of money. So they have influence, they have positive projects, they are moving the society up to a next level. And there are people, all the time is nagging, Iraq, wars, economical situation, all the time blaming. So for us as entrepreneurs, I believe the previous generations were more pessimistic, I should say. Now this new generation that is rising in Iraq, I believe they are a source of hope. They are more open in the digital age. They see the situation around them, the countries. They go, they travel, they learn, they come back to Iraq, in Kurdistan specifically. They invest, they serve the community. So I believe, yes, it impacted us negatively, but I believe it will not be the case for the future anymore. The case of wars, we are sure that this is Iraq. I believe case of stability in Iraq, it's a bit difficult due to the situation of surrounding countries, the wars that's happening in the Middle East in general. But I believe there are now generations in Iraq, they have hope, they are optimistic, they are creative, and they work for developing the country, because by the end of the day, we are responsible. Whatever is happening in the country, we feel we should take responsibility, not to say, to get with the flow. No, this is not our option, but to change the flow, to do something about it. So I believe now the Kurdistan is divided onto this level, but put it in this way, the positive people, the positive society is now more, especially among the young generations. Clear? Thank you.
So thank you for your presentation. And I have a question about who else, except Prorok Muhammad, you recommend about the people in Muslim world who talk something about business or free market. I know that there was someone who wrote similar things to Adam Smith 300 years before him. He was named, I guess, Ibrahim Khaldun, something like that. And he wrote Al-Maqwa, who was very important thing, but didn't make not that much impact as Adam Smith books. And also there was in Spain, in Cordoba, very intellectual institution that in the Muslim times where they preserved the Aristotle hoax, who was more advanced than Plato that was in the medieval times in Europe. So my question is, who else except Prorok Mahomet you recommend to learn in Islam?
So just to make sure, you are referring to the philosophers of Islam and the previous centuries? Ibn Khaldun, we consider him as one of the leader in this area. Farabi, for example, Farabi is another example among Ibn Khaldun. He was also someone in this area who he has so many writings in this area about economy and the concept of Islam, or how we build a freedom economy. Farabi, you got the name?
Yeah. And can you explain more about the Islam economy? Because there is different.
Yes. Actually, for me, I think I told Jacek before I come to this, because this is a very deep, by the way, thank you very much for your question, very deep subject when it comes to the Islamic infrastructure of finance or economy in general. So I'm not an expert of this. My responsibility is not always, answer any question that being asked to me. No, I'm not that much experienced or expert in this, so I don't want to reply you something, that will not suit you. So I believe maybe we can talk about it later after the seminar. But I have really good friends in Kurdistan, in Iraq, that they are really expert, because the Islamic economy is something really deep. And we have some sort of scholars there, experts, who talk about, the basics of Islam. We have some general basics we apply, but when it comes to the details, you need someone really expert to reply your questions. So I'm sorry about this. Maybe I don't have the right answer for your question on this.
Thank you for your talk, Brwa. I would like, since you have experience coming from tradition and through the place you were born and through your family, you stem from tradition of Islamic way of thinking about doing business. But then you also studied the American way of looking at things. So my question is, what differences between those two traditions you notice, and what can the Western way of thinking about it, based on, well, that's how it is in modern times, the Western way of thinking about economy and business is based on the American way. So what an Islamic tradition could tell us? What can we adapt? What would be some of the important things that the Islamic tradition might tell us?
It's actually a very good question. So I believe the American way of thinking about business, entrepreneurship, leadership is quietly more open when it comes to there are less barriers. When it comes to Islam, it's surrounded by beliefs, since this is a religion. But in Islam, something really, we have to take this into our consideration. We have one Islam as religion, one Quran, but different perspectives based on the nation or geography of the people. For example, Kurds in Kurdistan, they have different perspective about Islam when it comes to business, to entrepreneurship, to knowing more people, to expand their communication. But when you go to the Arabic areas, you see less, because they are more conservative. So for me, once I went to the American University of Iraq, And this is just an example. I went there at the time. I was, around 22nd, 22 years old, 23. Once I went there, we had a teacher. So he was suggesting us as the Muslim, most of us as were Muslim students there, to write about gay marriage. So for us at this time, this was really something, very sensitive. How come? This is a Muslim society. How come you ask such topic? But our teacher always taught us the American style. You have to criticize, develop your thinking, develop your thinking, because we were somehow closed as Kurds in this area. But I believe throughout the American University of these places that were around American or let's say Western, they help the society get more open. So I believe the way we understand Islam in Kurdistan are more open because we believe in freedom. We believe in, knowing different people. For me, at least personally, I totally respect all the other religions. Well, this is also what Islam is asking for us. Because Prophet Muhammad, at the time once he became the Prophet, he returned back to Medina, he had the conduct something as a law for everyone in order to practice their religion in a safe way, to make business, to worship their gods. This wasn't the case during his being a prophet. But after he died, so many branches of Islam, started to take things the way they perceive, becomes more conservative, and some of them for political reasons, perhaps. So I believe as a Muslim that I learned that we are all alike. We have maybe one purpose on this earth, and we don't need really to put too much. This is what I learned from Western American style of doing business, that we are here to add value. We are here to serve one another. And this is why I went to the John C. Maxwell international team in the States. The first question they asked me, this team is Christian. They are managed to lead by John C. Maxwell. I said, I love it. This is why I'm here. And they were so, okay, are you from where? Kurdistan. This is the first time we are getting an offer from Kurdistan. And you're a Muslim? I said, yes. And I believe me and John C. Maxwell, we share the same mission. We want to make this world a better place. So whatever is for the other world or my personal beliefs, this is something else. So I'm here to align with his mission and to serve. I met him twice. Well, I am trying to bring him for the first time to Kurdistan in February 2025. So this is how I think about, networking, learning from one another. We are not perfect. I believe reality is something subjective. For each one of us, our religion is something important, or maybe some of us, we don't practice any religion. This is still something we should respect. This is how I learned from American style developing criticism. Well, I believe in the beginning it was very hard for the previous generations to accept this type of teachings in our society. But now, no, I see it as a new face, especially when it comes to our new generation. They are up to this type of opening, seeing around of them to see what's really happening. It's not all about us. We have to also have our open eyes toward different cultures. This is how we learn. This is how we grow.
Like few more. Can we get more questions?
Thank you for the speech. Don't you think that nowadays Islamic world is trying to some kind of bend the law, change their interpretation of Islam? Because one of the signs for me is the first Islamic bank was established in 1960s in Egypt. Before that, actually, Arab countries, Islamic countries, didn't think about the bank system like in the Western way. And to me, it looks like when Muslims saw the opportunity to earn some money, they were trying to reinterpret Islam, bend the law. So, what do you think about it? Do we see like nowadays this kind of trend in Islam that people are trying to bend the law?
So this is where you're hearing because once we talk about Islam or Muslim societies, we have some certain countries. For Iraq, if you talk about specifically in Iraq, I don't see such as happening.
For example,
because I heard some stories that, for example, doing some banking system before 60s, it would be like even 100 years ago, like in a more Western way. It was like mostly didn't think about. But now when they found the opportunity to, for example, earn some money, they like reinterpret the
Possibly.
established Islamic bank system.
Yes, possibly. Because I've also heard about these cases. I believe it happens. But in Iraq, specifically, if you talk about it, I don't see such stuff. For us, the Islamic banks are more preferred. Usually in the Muslim countries, about the banks who investments, who putting money in banks, we prefer more the Islamic bank because since they were not, taking we call it riba in Islam, so the interest rate. So I believe this also concept of banking, Islamic banking, something I believe would interest even not the Muslim societies. I believe nowadays we are thinking about the non-Muslim societies also think about this because the structure of the finance and the banking system is very deep in Islam. So in Iraq, I don't see such stuff. But I also hear, yes, possibly, some people maybe, take advantage of this in anywhere as Muslims. Yes.
Hello, thank you for your speech. One question I wanted to raise is that is related to the value you assign to the purpose, living with significance. You mentioned that there is an alternative between having a purpose of a business as making money or helping others. And I was wondering if you see any third option, for example, setting a purpose, not money and not helping others, but for example, creation as an end in itself. Or as an example, I could give Elon Musk, who is building, the space colony vision. If that makes sense. Thanks.
So once we talk about the purpose and the results, I'm not quite sure that I said, the purpose of a business is to make money. I said the purpose of the business has to be something bigger than money. So if you ask, for example, you talked about Elon Musk. If you ask him now, why are you making business or expanding? It doesn't tell you, I want to make more money. For him, there is a stability level, but he wants to have a different mission going outside of the, Earth, who start life on the other planets. So this is a dream. This is the mission that I talk about. That's why I'm saying our mission as entrepreneurs, our purpose has to become much bigger than making money. Helping people, I believe, could be a mission. For me, for example, once I say live with significance, it's about how to add value wherever I go, how to add positive influence to someone's life. Just telling somebody is, your clothes is okay, thank you, your I don't know, face is beautiful. This is a very small act of adding positive influence. I talk about the basics. So once you provide any types of products and services, I believe if the concept, the mission is to provide in order to make or to provide a better lifestyle or health or anything that it comes to these deep foundations for any human beings, I believe you'll end up getting money as well later. But if your focus is all the time, I want to get money, I want to get rich, this is like, I have a car, I want to burn fuel. This is how I perceive, because the fuel is the money. You need it to run the business, but it's not the end goal. Is it clear? Or
I would restate my question in how is adding value different from helping others?
It's different from ours. Otherwise, for me, adding value, one of the things that's an added value for me, it's helping others. It depends on your mindset, your beliefs, your education. Because it's all differs from each one of us, how we define. Our perspectives are different based on the culture that we grew up, based on the education that we're getting. For me, there is no difference. Actually, once I get, I say adding value, it might be one of the stuff is to help people to live a better life, to provide them, security, safety, high quality products and services. This is how I think about adding value to people. It depends on you, how you put it. What does it mean to you, adding value to people? It doesn't need to be necessarily only helping people. No. Maybe there are some stuff, you personally wanted to put it as under adding value to people.
Thank you so much. You see, GPS.